your fasting hormone detox expert. Well, I just had an amazing journey into men's camp, which happens once a year. It's a Kundalini yoga camp that happens over the summer with an amazing collective of human beings and men. And one of the core principles of being a men's camp is that once you're surrounded by men, there's no sense of competition. There's no women around where we need to prove ourselves, right? We just get to be who we are and show up as we are, and discover in community this bigger version of us, this bigger version of who it is that we came here to experience. And there was incredible teachers, incredible masters who have lived this path of Kundalini yoga and this lifestyle for decades. And it's so inspiring being surrounded by such individuals with humility and compassion and graciousness and vitality that you see what's possible when you see people living a certain way. And the sense of brotherhood is instilled together with this realization of discipline. It's through our discipline and essentially our devotion to a practice that we start to uncover more of who we are. And it's really easy to get lost in our day-to-day world where we react to the surroundings that we're in and react to the media, the news, the consumer level of consciousness that we get stuck in, and we can lose ourselves. One of my brothers who was teaching there was talking about the noise. If we look at our body as this is who we are, but it's what we have, we start to understand that this body's an antenna. And the way he was teaching was that we are constantly filtering noise, just constantly in our environment, from TV to media to social media to maybe books we're reading, to the radio, to relationships, all the different things that we experience on a regular basis. We have a high level of noise inside of our heads. And I can't tell you people that I talk to in practice, they come in to see me as a doctor and they go, I can't meditate. I just can't do it. My head's too busy. Like, yeah, that's everybody. Everybody's experienced the same thing. It's because we have such a high level of noise in our environment. It's noise of expectation on that internal level, noise of our own experience and how we're filtering the world, a noise of trying to maintain composure so that others don't see our weaknesses and don't see our vulnerabilities. And, when I wrote down here retreat as retreat to reveal, because when we're in this space of being able to turn down the noise in our environment, we get to reveal more of us. We get to reveal more of who we are. And that's a beautiful thing. The last couple of years I've had the opportunity to teach at this camp, and it's a revealing for me too. I get to step out into this experience with my amazing teachers and teach with them to educate this population of amazing conscious men that then have to take this information and this lifestyle and this practice and go back home and make sense of it all in the crazy, noisy world that we live in. And sometimes we need these experiences, these retreats to reveal more of us, but we can't do that when the noise is so loud. It's funny coming back from a retreat and having your boys back with you and being back in life, and then all the pressures of the world come racing at you. You start to realize that, wow, there's a lot that I left when I left only a week ago. And that's all of us. We all feel that. We all feel that stress and pressure. We know, I think it's pretty clear that all of us, when we go through our lives, different maybe illnesses show up from time to time, or different symptoms and everything else. A lot of that's coming from just our resiliency to our environment. And this is why all the tools that we teach, from detox to fasting to adaptation, temperature variation, even varying the noise level that goes inside your head through meditation or yoga or, whatever your choice is, all these things help to build that resiliency and quiet the noise so that you can be more of you in your daily life. And sometimes we need a tool like a retreat to help us remember those pieces of ourselves. And so I want to talk a little bit about what's happening physiologically. So when we're constantly in that fight or flight, that's, and most of the time we're not even aware of it. Let's be honest. We're living our lives, and stress is mounting, but we go, I thrive in stress. It's a common thing to say. Well, I need stress to motivate me. All we're thinking about is just the known stressors. We talk about toxicity as a stressor. We talk about hidden infections as stressors. We talk about the emotional perpetual trauma as a stressor, or physical injuries as a stressor, or disease diagnosis as a stressor, or relationships are a stressor. All these things interfere with our body's ability to heal, and they keep us in that fight or flight state. Our modern day saber-toothed tigers isn't anything outside of us. It's how we're perceiving our world. It's all the interference and the noise that's interfering with our ability to relate to the world around us. And so what happens is that we get this excitation, this massive stimulation in our brain, and it interferes with our ability to actually connect more deeply to that bigger us, that bigger you. And what we need to do is also create that homeostatic balance, bring in some of that parasympathetic state, the vagal nerve tone, that helps our body be more resilient to our environment, because we can come from a more calm, relaxed place instead of constantly having to put out the fires. So there's lots of really great tools to help stimulate the vagus nerve. Obviously, meditation is one. Chanting, it's another big part of Kundalini Yoga. Using a rhythmic breath and rhythmic syllables on a consistent basis for over a period of time, with a certain mudra, which is the hand position, a certain eye focus, a certain intention, can help to just re-resonate a stimulus for that vagus nerve, which allows for inhibition. And this is important. When we think of inhibition, we think that, inhibition is bad. We always want to be moving forward, always moving towards our goal. One of my teachers was relating this to like a car going downhill without the brakes, or a bike. Let's say you're a biker going down the mountainside without the brakes. How do you get there faster? Well, if you use your brakes appropriately, you're going to be able to navigate the corners and the turns and the hills and the valleys and all that. And so you're going to be more effective in your downhill plunge, right? And that's like life. If we lose that inhibition, if we lose our ability to see where we need to brake, we see a corner coming so we can slow it down, to make the turn, we'll be more effective. If we learn how to apply the right detox tools, if we learn how to apply the right fasting tools, if we learn how to apply the right supplementation, the right mindset, the right lifestyle tools, all these things are like brakes. They're all like adding the inhibition. They're allowing us to slow down, just like slowing down when we chew versus like just stuffing food in our faces. And this all helps we can help ourselves in this process by doing things that help with vagal nerve stimulation or vagal nerve reset. And lots of tools here. Just even increasing your nutrient levels can be helpful, like increasing magnesium or GABA or theanine and some of these other neurotransmitter-inducing supportive nutrients. So that's more of a biochemical level. You can also do it with movement, with having some rest, implementing rest into your exercise, like high-intensity interval training or yoga or some of these things that have a stress and then a relaxation. Obviously, meditation is part of that. Breath work is huge. Just understanding a little bit more about the movement of breath inside of our body can have a huge effect on our body's ability to regulate that vagal nerve. One of the most simple ones is to just do alternate nostril breathing, which is great. And on that topic of breath, I encourage you, if you watch this, take note if you're a paradoxical breather, which means that when you inhale, are you sucking your abdomen in? If you are, it's paradoxical. And when you take a deep breath in, your belly should be expanding. And that's huge. I mean, that right there, if you're doing that, you're getting a disconnect between your brain and your lungs. And if that's happening, that's affecting hormonal function, your neuropeptides, so many different things. So just realizing that just how the mechanics of our body are moving, and just simple tasks like breath work, and there may be a need for a correction there. And guess what? Just breathing properly, that helps your vagal nerve. That helps to reset the wiring in our body. I mean, it's just simple stuff, but it's so important. And lastly, in one of our most recent podcasts, we interviewed Dr. Jason Saunders, who's an amazing chiropractor down in New Jersey, across the border from us, East Coast, of course. And he does a ton of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And we got to dive really deep into understanding this role of oxygen, and understanding that oxygen is like it's a nutrient. Yet we need oxygen combined with our food, our sugar, and our fats to make energy. We need proper perfusion in our blood vessels to actually allow for oxygen exchange to hit the tissues. And blood perfusion is huge, and tying it with oxygen. 75% of our vasculature is in the little microcirculation, the little capillary beds, the really tiny vessels of our body. If we stretch those out, they would, maybe they'd cover the entire globe. But if we're looking at just our big vessels, like the aorta, like the bigger veins and carotid and all that stuff, that's only 25% of our vasculature system. So if you think that if we're not breathing properly, if we're not oxygenating our blood, and we've got poor perfusion, maybe we've got cold hands and feet, we've got thyroid problems, we have toxicity, we've got all sorts of interference when it comes to blood flow, that's going to have a profound effect on our body's ability to maintain hydration or nutrient capacity in all the different tissues of the body. So having an awareness of your vasculature system, a need for movement, a need for detox, a need for bringing down inflammation, and a need for breath are critical in just the vitality of the body. Like, how many people have, regular brain fog, or how many people have regular joint pain and inflammation? How many people are having trouble sleeping or hormonal dysfunction? Is it enough to just add a hormone in? Is it enough to just take a nutrient? Or do we have to look at a multi-therapeutic approach, look at the bigger picture of what's actually going on, and start applying the brakes, right? The nervous system tone, offloading some of the stressors, the toxicities, the emotional trauma, the infections, the other things that are hidden inside the body that we need to make light of. And then how can we start to coordinate our breath and just uncover, maybe we're paradoxical breathing, we're not oxygenating our tissues very effectively. So all these things come together, and I want to tie this all around brain health, because when we realize that our body is the antenna for the environment that we're perceiving our world in, and we realize that our brain is that capacity to relate to our environment, to relate to one another, it's our physical, it's like a processing system. If we were to look at ourselves as a computer, it's how we process information, it's how we regurgitate or share information with others. It's all through our ability to coordinate the biochemistry in the brain, which, when all these things work together, you have a really high functioning individual. You've got a high functioning brain, you've got a good, solid, steady hormone function, and you can perceive and interact and receive more effectively from the world around you. And that's important stuff. So my encouragement to you is to consider, when you have the opportunity, because we're going to start talking about our retreat, which is coming up in February. Consider it. You retreat to reveal. You find out who you are when you quiet the noise. Yes. And retreating can also be like, I'm retreating from eating every 2 hours during the day, right? I'm retreating. I'm giving myself an opportunity to heal. So we fast to reveal. And the vagal nerve piece, learning how to tune in to the body's healing system. It happens in a calm parasympathetic state. So how can you bring some more neutrality, some more relaxation exercise into your day, more calmness to your breath, which will also re-stimulate or support that parasympathetic state. And then think about the perfusion, getting blood flow to all the distal extremities of the body. Maybe that's temperature variation, hot and cold showers. Maybe it's, and pranayama does this too. I mean, when you breathe properly, you start to heat up in the body. Even breath suspension, suspending your breath, can force oxygen into the tissues. So lots of cool stuff here with the brain health. I'll probably be doing a few more videos on this because it's such an important topic. And I tell you what, after a week of amazing yoga and breath work and connection and community, my brain feels phenomenal. It's amazing what a little bit of space and quietening of the noise can do for the physical form, and obviously the spiritual body, of course, too. So that's it for this week. Have an amazing summer, everyone, and hope you're having a great day, and we'll chat with you soon.